Right, hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lovers Pamire, and I welcome you to the Lovers Podcast Show. This is the first and a very, very crucial inauguration of Lovers Podcast with my first guest ever, and his name is Aidan. He's going to introduce himself, of course, and get to know and understand more about him. So today we're going to have a conversation regarding the importance of physiotherapy in our day-to-day life because he's a specialist in physiotherapy. So, of course, I understand he was just watching a match, Liverpool and Manchester City.
Yeah, it was a very good game to watch. It was the game of the weekend. It was 1-1. It ended 1-1. City took the lead, and then Liverpool got a penalty, scored a penalty. City were the best team in the first half. Right. Liverpool came out in the second half and just played brilliantly. I suppose, really, the way the game went, right. I suppose a draw was a fair result, but either team could have won it.
It was a match of two halves, I understand.
It was really, yeah.
And a 1-1 draw was the fair result in the match.
It is, and with Arsenal winning last night, that means they're top, but only kind of on goal difference.
Yeah.
So we're all level on points, I think. So it all comes down to next weekend and how things go before the international break. But yeah, it was a good game, and it's going to be an interesting finish to the season.
Yeah. Grant, super. Aidan, let's get into business. Tell us about yourself in brief.
Yeah, so I suppose my name is Aidan Raftery. I'm a sports physio. I work with I work with teams basically, but I also work from home. I've a room at home that I do physio from, treat patients from. And I do massage as well, but so it's something I suppose I got like when I was in my playing days. Like I was saying to Love Us Off Air, it's kind of you have two ways when you're coming out to you have two ways of ending how your career finishes. Yeah. One, you have a say in how you finish when you feel it's the right time, and you say, right, look, I love playing, but it's time to finish, and that's huge, and I was lucky enough to do that. But then there's the other side where you don't get the choice.
I understand.
Due to injury, be it concussion, a lot of head injuries, shoulder, leg, knee injuries that are very common, career-ending injuries. So I suppose with that in mind, I'm privileged to have done that. So I suppose like I've had my playing days, and now I like to kind of give something back. So like when you give up, when you finish playing, then it's what do you do? So I suppose some people do coaching, other people do they do media work. But for me, I think physio and kind of treat it, because I've had injuries myself. I think it comes across better, and people it shows that I understand how a player feels. So I know how to motivate them, and but also I suppose the key about physiotherapy is, like, I tell them the exercises to do, but also to get them to participate and have their say in their rehab or for whatever injury, and give them advice. And I suppose it's that satisfaction of I see players or a patient that comes to me when they're most vulnerable, and see there's a psychological part of it as well. They finished, they're injured, so they've no job, they're out of work, they lose their place in the team, they can't train. I know. There's a lot of things. How do they, if they can't go to work? No money coming in, all those kind of things. When I come back from injury, will I get my place back? There's a lot of kind of things that these things that come in. So it's kind of, it's psychological as well as doing their doing an exercise plan and things like that. But I suppose it's the variety, and I work with a variety of teams. I suppose in 2018 I was with the Ireland senior six-side squad. We represented Ireland in the 2018 European Mini Football Championships in Kiev. So that was a huge honour. I was very lucky, and I appreciate that opportunity. And in 2019 with the Ireland Diabetic Futsal squad, we also went for the Euro Futsal Championship, European Euro Futsal Championships in Kiev. In 2021 then I was with Sparta Belfast, They qualified for the UEFA Futsal Champions League preliminary round tournament. That was in Estonia, so I was with them. My current club, I'm with a great club, Ballinagar Manor at the moment, and I've been with them for 2018. Right. I love Sundays, match days with the players. They're very good to me. I do my best for them. Included in everything. Yeah. We look after each other. It's like a real a lovely kind of culture in the club. Yeah. And yesterday it was my first game as physio for the Arklow Heights, Ballinagar, Buccaneers Buccaneers Pirates combination team. We played Arklow in a friendly yesterday, and we're also looking forward to a blitz in Banbridge on the 13th of April. They're always looking for players, so if anyone is interested, maybe you can get them in touch with me, and we can arrange for them.
We can always talk about that.
That's my plug, folks. So it promises to be a great weekend. Yeah. But yeah, I suppose really it is a very important thing, because I suppose with certainly first aiders years ago would have been the main kind of people at matches, but now through claims and a lot of other things, it's required to have a physio there. I know. Because I suppose as I said, first aiders are vital and they do great work, they are very important for being there and things like that. Right. And I was one myself, and that's how I progressed to doing this. Okay. But it's kind of the aftermath of the injury after we say post hospital treatment. Doing rehab with players or patients, shoulder injuries, dislocations, ankle injuries.
And you understand it better that you have been in the sporting industry and now switching from sport to physio, and you understand which part to touch and to maneuver, and which area to attend to when somebody is injured.
Yeah, it's also like, I suppose, asking the right questions and kind of keeping an eye on a match. Like if it's at a match, and of course, during a match, then when you are treating the patient, you have only X amount of time to make the right decisions. Can the player play on? Does the player need to come off?
So tell me, the different types of physiotherapy. There is physiotherapy in general for medical practitioners, and then sports practitioners. Is there a differentiation, or you can cut across the
there are two ways. You can, as a physio working in a hospital, right, and you can also be like what I'm doing, actually working with a club. Now I'm not full time with the club. I work with different teams, right? Yeah. So you can actually work full time at it. We say like they do in the Premier League. The 7 or 8 physios, doctors and all that, and for me, I like working with different clubs, but Ballinagar Manor will be my main club. And then I work for other clubs around that. Okay. But also, like, people can come to me.
It's just physio to do with the muscles, the bones, and the injuries. Nothing to do with medical, really, is it?
Well, it can do muscular, to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. But it's all very important, because when someone comes to you, it's one of those you can't bluff your way, because when you're giving advice, the person depends on you to give the right advice, to give the right exercises, right? Because they want to get back to where they were. Now there are serious injuries, minor injuries, and in between injuries. But at the end of the day, you have to be. It's how you explain it, right? Because a person that's injured, they're stressed and they're just concerned about getting done. So it's working with them, right, being nice to them, and kind of giving them a say as well in their rehab as well, and explaining the injuries, because we say if you come to me and you have a shoulder injury, I kind of show a graphic of it. Okay. And explain, right, when this has happened and this is the area, just to give them an understanding of the. Okay. And then they become kind of, they have an investment in the injury then, and but it's also, if you show that, then they kind of, it's easier to see why you have to do certain exercises for rehab. Okay. And why you take, like, so I suppose a common injury will be, we say, an ACL injury. That's and that's the longest injury, one of the longest injuries. That's 12 months out. You know,
Okay.
it's a long road.
That's quite an injury. I think
Yeah.
you've given us a bit background history
Yeah.
about yourself, and you differentiated the different types of physio, and also you looked into physio in sports and various clubs that you engaged with in terms of physiotherapy. To a layman listening out there, how would you recommend, or what would you say in terms of the importance of physiotherapy?
Well, it is very important because if a person gets injured, it's psychological. You take everything. You take the person into the injury and the person
Right.
into it. So it's all about it's like you're going on a journey with the patient.
Right.
You're going from just after getting the injury right through to the recovery, making sure like I'm accessible. They can ring me anytime.
Right.
If they've any questions or any worries, both the patient or their family or whatever. If they've any questions, they can ring me anytime.
So we'll drop your numbers on the screen. People can actually call you, and if they have any questions regarding physiotherapy, and you can give them advice.
That's it, and and it's a job I enjoy.
So that's Grant. So you gave us the people you're working with. Let's diverse a little bit into a relatively equal and the same aspect that is connected to physiotherapy. In this case, we are talking of exercises and the importance of exercises. So we should take a short break. After this break, we'll be back and talk about exercising. Welcome back to your program with Aidan, my friend here. We are unraveling, we are dissecting, we're talking about physiotherapy. And before we went for a break, I highlighted to you that we want to talk about exercises. How men out there are exercising and taking exercises seriously? Are we able to go out in the road and hit the road running as part of exercises? Do we have the courage to do so, especially when it is cold and raining, like it is always here in Ireland? And do we go to the gym? Are we able to pay the subscription, the gym subscription? Or there is an alternative that you can make use of, probably being creative around your house by creating an environment conducive for you to be able to exercise. And because there are conditions related to sedentary lifestyle, you are at work, probably you work in the office from dawn to dusk, and you are in the car coming from work to home, and or vice versa, and in the house you are behind your computer or your TV. There is no activity in terms of your body. As we all know that when you reach the age of 40, everything begins to go down. You are not growing, you are not accumulating any more muscle, any more growth in the system, but rather everything is going down. So exercises and good diet becomes very key. So let's talk about exercise. Raftery, are people exercising?
It is key, and I suppose when you do a lot of exercises, and there's a sport and an exercise, and that for everyone. Running, swimming, football, hurling, soccer, rugby, soccer. There's a wide variety of ways. It can be as cheap or as expensive as you need it to be. Right. I suppose look at walking. Mm-hmm. The cheapest, it's free.
It's free. But how many people have the courage to walk by themselves?
Well, I suppose, they don't have to walk by themselves. If they have a friend, they can walk. There's a lot of different things as well now. What's very important, it's very enjoyable to go for a walk. it's great for clearing the head after a hard day's work, or if you have something on your mind.
Exactly.
You can listen to music,
right.
or you can't listen to music. You can go walk with a friend.
Right.
It's also a very fun way of raising money. I did something for the Manor Hospital there, 100 miles in a month, a couple of years ago. It was very enjoyable, and myself and my friend Martin, we go once a day. You know, every day. Monday to Friday, and then I do it Sunday on my own.
Okay.
And like we'd be talking while we're walking, and
right.
You know, it could be a long distance.
Right.
But when you're talking, you don't realise it.
I've some friends who are in the medical field with me. So what they usually say is, I will be working tirelessly, and I'll be running at work during the work session, and that's enough for an exercise. Is that true? Because when you're at work, there is stress engaged and involved whilst you're working. So for you to come up with an excuse to say, because I was working 12-hour shift, 13.5-hour shift, and I've clocked about 10 to 15,000 steps during the day, would that suffice exercise?
It is, but you're not doing it's about getting the heart going and the joints moving, and you see, if you keep doing it there's this thing you know that you've probably heard of people working in the medical, or patients, if you don't use it you lose it. So it's that's the key for muscle conditions, or that. Right. If you have a certain muscle condition, or especially in the elderly. Mm-hmm. If you exercise every day, we touched on the different all the different ways of exercising. Mm-hmm. What happens is you get a condition called muscle atrophy. Mm-hmm. So that's where the muscle becomes weaker due to lack of use.
Because it's not being flexed around and all those, and that affects your health.
So it is very important, and I think nowadays as well, it's a healthy kind of society now. Everyone is very health conscious. You just said there about nutrition. Yeah. And that comes into play actually when you get injured. Right. Because if you're eating the right things, and if you're fit, when you get injured, right, like protein's very important. For healing tissue. Yeah. And things like that. But it also helps in if you're fit and you're healthy and you're eating right. Mm-hmm. It also helps your circulation, right. And it also shortens how long it takes you to get in, how to recover from an injury.
I think we need to have another show on healthy eating and diet, because for example, I recently went to my GP just to have a general blood test. Not that I was feeling ill, but just to assess and realize that some deficiencies. There are certain foods that I'm not taking, that I'm not eating, which are critical and essential in terms of producing certain aspects of my system to be balanced. But those ones are not produced by my body. I have to take them as supplements or as food, so that the body is able to process and all those. And we have many of those. And how many out there are able to go to their doctor, to their GP, to their family doctor, to have some blood tests and to have some routine checks? It could be your eyes, it could be your heart, it could be your blood circulation, it could be your sugar levels, it could be your urinary system, it could be your breast, it could be your cervical system if you're a woman, just to get it checked. It's very key and very important. But today we're talking of exercises. That's a subject for another day. So we're just looking into various ways. How important is it to exercise? It's important to, like you said, that one, you need to look for a company to walk around, to go with. If you can have a club, you can join a club. I think there are different clubs out there, and
you can even do things for charity as well. There's
exactly.
A lot of you do a lot of voluntary work. Yes. And you see walking, running, 5k, 10k runs, all these kind of things, they're very good. And myself, as I was saying to you off air, Lovers, myself, and a guy called Aidan. Why he's he's actually a former rugby league player, professional rugby league player. So myself and himself do a podcast every week called Gym Update.
Right.
And every week we kind of discuss so like we say, you can go to the gym, the different aspects of gym that work the different parts of the body. Like you just said there, you can go for a swim. Very good, because that gets all the joints going. But it's also very good for cardio, and I always recommend it. We say when someone is recovering, because you're getting joints going, you're getting the muscles going. It's very good for even as a warm down or a recovery session. If you're playing with a team, it's a very good thing to do. But I suppose the thing with the gym as well, it's good to do the gym, but it's kind of not do it 6 days a week and do it heavy. It's how you do it and what you do. So it's, if you do it, I normally say to someone, if they come to me with an injury and say, oh well, it happened in the gym, chances are they're overdoing it in the gym. They're doing lifting too many heavy weights or whatever. So I say, like, reduce the workload, and then just kind of do it. We say, go to the gym today, maybe have a recovery session tomorrow, or do 2 days in a row and then have a break, because that's very bad. That's very heavy on the body. But
talking about that, how would you recommend? How often should one go to the gym if he's going to the gym in a week, for example, or if you're at home exercising? How often and how long should each session take in terms of exercising?
I suppose there's a lot of aspects you take into consideration, because I'm a gym instructor as well, level 2, and basically the things for that is when someone comes in, you have to find out first of all, what do they want to work on, what are their goals in the gym, and you get all their weight, their height, medical conditions, any medication they're on, have they any injuries at the moment, or whatever. If there's anything you're kind of not sure of, chances are they'll that you can say, well, listen, you need to go to the GP. It could be an eating thing. It could be, say, you could be allergic to something, and it's also fitting the gym around the person. Obviously everyone has a different lifestyle, as in work-life balance. Some people work long hours, some people work part-time, some people work short time.
Aidan, we don't have much time. I think we have been timed out. What will be your last words to the listeners and the viewers out there?
Thanks very much to yourself. Thanks very much to all the listeners. And it's very nice to be on here. And if I love my job, and it's very nice to be doing this podcast, and look forward to talking to you soon.
This is Lovers on Lovers Podcast Show, and thank you for listening. And please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification button so that each and every time we upload something, you are notified. Thank you, and it's a bye-bye for now.